I get most of my new comics through a monthly subscription service. Well, that order just came in. So let's find the knife and open this up and see what I ordered for this month. Welcome back, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and here I am with a new episode where I'm going to open up this box right here from M&M Comics. M&M Comics is where I get most of my new comic books, and I put in this order 2 to 3 months in advance, getting some really great discounts. That's why I do it, and I get a lot of comics this way. Most of my new comic book day videos are dedicated to going to the LCS, my LCS, Third Eye Comics, or some of the other ones here in the Baltimore area, but primarily for books that I may have missed when I put in this pre-order. So the bulk of the books I get them in once a month, and I could choose to do it twice a month, but I actually just pay for it once a month. So I get them to come in like this, and I have a big giant unboxing. It's like Christmas once a month. It's so many comics that I end up ordering. It's really cool. Like I said, it saves a lot of money. So I'm going to find the knife. We're going to open up the box and we'll get into it, and I'll show you all the books I picked up for this particular month. So give me one moment and I'll get a knife. All right, guys, I've got the knife. Let's get into this box. We're going to cut it open, and I'll probably fast forward through some of this because it's kind of boring. So let me just get into it, and we'll go fast forwarding right now. And so you guys will see this is how it's packaged in here. It is a lot of comic books. Got some paper. You can see my invoice there on the top. Actually, it's just a copy of all the comics that are in this particular order. We got lots of paper here. Lots of cardboard too. And we've got a couple of Gemini mailer type cardboard structures right here. You can see they got cardboard, paper everywhere. So we got 2 of these in here. And this one's really thick. Look how thick this is. So I'm going to put this down. I wanted to stop so I can show you how they package everything. In all the years, and we're talking 24 plus years I've been using this service, I've only had one order that had a mishap, and I got refunded on that order. And generally, they're really good. And I will say that only because they're picking out comics for a lot of different people, and sometimes they may have some that might have a tick on there. And that's what I use my LCS for as well, is going back and maybe picking up a copy that might not be quite as high grade as I would like. But generally, I have very little complaints. I mean, come on, guys. I've been using it for 24 plus years at this point. Honestly, that's probably the best endorsement I can give for M&M Comics. So let's get at the knife here. I'm going to open up both of these Gemini type mailers, get the book set, and then we'll do a little show and tell. So I'm going to fast forward once again. All right, guys, I've got the comics out of the Gemini mailers. I wanted to show you real quick. There is 2 sets of books right here, both of them bagged into giant magazine-sized bags to protect them even more. So I'm going to open these up, and then I'm going to show you the books. The one thing I'm not going to do today is normally I would go off camera and bag and board everything and then show them to you, just so I would protect them when I'm doing the video. But to be quite honest, I am low on boards and bags right now. In fact, I just put in a big giant order for another 1,000 bags and boards from BCW, and I'll have to wait for those to get in because I think they're on back order of the bags right now. So I'll have to be real careful when I'm showing you these, and then I'm going to have to put the books up someplace where they won't get damaged while I'm waiting on those bags and boards to get in. But let me open these up, and then I'll come back, and then we will do a little show and tell. I don't need to show you this on camera, so stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
5 minutes later.
All right, guys, I've got all the books. I organized everything, so let's just get right into it. So the first thing I want to show you that I get every month in the order is the Marvel Preview Magazine. It's a free magazine. You can pick us up at your LCS. This will preview all of the new comics coming out from Marvel that you can pre-order, again, 2 to 3 months in advance. And the reason I say 2 to 3 months is normally the order is put in 3 months in advance, but there's also a resolicitation on a lot of the books around the 2-month mark as well. So that's why I say 2 to 3 months. You hear me say that all the time. So these are all the new Marvel books that I can possibly order, and they also send in this DC Connect. This is the DC version of the same thing. So I can go through these 2 magazines and look at all the new books that are coming out and read about them and make my judgments on this. I don't have to just go onto the M&M website and look at the books and read the previews there. I can look, at least with Marvel and DC, I can do it with this. But let's just get into the books, and I broke it down again into categories. And what I've got sitting right here are, let's do the facsimiles first. Sometimes I do those last, but I've got them sitting here. We picked up Police Comics. I believe this is issue number 1. And I can't tell you what year it is. I want to say it's 1942, but this is the first appearance of Plastic Man. Now, this is a story that I had read probably as early as I was 4 and 5 years old. My dad had a hardbound book of some of the greatest origin stories of a lot of DC and Marvel and independent characters that I ended up reading back in the day when I was so young. And this right here, the story of the first appearance of Plastic Man, was right there. So I have known about Plastic Man my whole life, and this story right here is that story that I read originally, like I said, as probably a 4 or 5 year old. I also picked up this, and I did pick this up at one of my LCSs. I picked up the facsimile copy to Betty and Me number 16. This is the innuendo cover, the Archie beats off 3 guys to protect Betty cover right there. And it's a very highly sought out original issue. Even I've looked for it at cons and stores when I've gone out there. But when the facsimile came out, I had to get this. So I ended up picking up a copy of that. Also, there was the facsimile of Marvel Superheroes Secret War number 8. The first origin, or the origin of the black costume for Spider-Man. I picked up several copies of the foil edition. It's a little hard to see right there, but I also picked up the regular cover as well. And currently I've got 2 of these in at CGC that I'm hoping for good results on. I get these facsimiles on certain books because I think there are certain values. They're valuable in the fact that they are from really good classic, highly sought out comics. And sometimes I will buy multiples, and in this case I did buy multiples on this right here. So, but currently at the moment I've been buying the original, and that's what I've been sending into the CGC. We'll see about holding on to these at some point. I've got a vast collection of facsimiles, and I'm nowhere near going to be sending in the vast majority of them to CGC. There's a few of them that may merit that, but I'm kind of a collector of facsimiles at this point, but not everything. I did pick up this. This is a Spider-Man 259. This is the origin of Mary Jane. You've got this classic Ron Frenz cover that's a homage to Tales of Suspense 39. I never knew that as a kid, but I wasn't as familiar with Tales of Suspense when I was a kid. I remember when this came out, and I was like, oh, that's a kind of a cool cover with panels on it and things like that. But this is a book right here that if you have the original 9.8, it's actually worth a good amount. Not the biggest amount, but it's actually a really good amount. And like I said, it's a really good book. It's part of the Spider-Man, that first 10 issues after he got his black costume. All of those books reveal a little bit more and more about that black costume. And then there's a big struggle, and you find out in the next issue that it is basically they were able to get it off of him, and they can see that it's this living being, and they separate it from Spider-Man. And of course it sets up the whole storyline, why the symbiote hates Spider-Man and why he sought out a new host and why we got Venom. So that's part of that ongoing origin story of Venom, basically. I also picked up the facsimile to X-Men 266, another book that I currently have in at CGC, the original, not the facsimile. I did pick up a facsimile of House of Secrets number 92. This is a book I never had as a kid. It was a little bit just before I was really starting to go with my mom to the drugstore and to the grocery store where the comics were. So I missed out on this as a kid. This was not in one of those books that I would have picked up at the time. It was not like Hulk 181s and Giant Size X-Men and X-Men 94 and things like that, where I would have had chances. This came out just a little bit earlier than those, and definitely I would have missed this. But I don't think I've ever read this story. So I'm going to sit down and actually read this at this point. And then the last facsimile is actually from, I guess it's coming over technically from Image and Skybound. It's a facsimile of the Marvel Comics original Transformers #1. This facsimile isn't coming out from Marvel. It's coming out from, I guess it's from Image, right? It does say Skybound up there instead of Marvel. But that is the original comic right here, the facsimile that is. And you've got the original Bill Sienkiewicz artwork on there. I wonder, does the artist get paid again when they do a facsimile? When they print that, does the artist get paid again or not? I sort of doubt it, but it'd be interesting to know. All right, that's it for the facsimiles. And the way I've got things laid out here, guys, let's just get right into the independents. So this is a book I did not order, but M&M had their own cover, I suppose, for Archie #1 right here. It's a homage to Spider-Man 300, and they threw that in for free. And then I did order the second issue of Mark Millar's Nemesis, Rogues Gallery, or Rogue. Yeah, no, it's Rogues, plural. Issue number 40 of Something's Killing the Children. I'm continuing to pick this up. I am not buying any of the variant covers unless something really jumps out at me at this point, but it's always cool. James Tynion is a regular at Third Eye Comics. He comes in and does signings. It seems like more than once a year, but it probably is about once a year he comes in, and sometimes maybe more. I did pick up the first issue to Boom, or is this the Image? I swear I thought this was Boom. But it is Frankenstein issue #1. They're doing a lot of these Universal monsters. I thought that was Boom Studios that was doing these. We've got Epitaphs from the Abyss. These are basically homages to the old EC Comics. These are kind of interesting. I didn't pick up the multiple covers on all of these, but they have been interesting. This is a book I'd already picked up, and by this point, I've already gotten this book signed. I picked it up off the newsstand. I didn't realize I'd pre-ordered it, but it is Conan the Barbarian #14 from Titan Comics. Jim Zub book that I continue to praise as one of the best books of the year. This right here was a Jay Lee cover, and I got Jay Lee to sign this at the Baltimore Comic Con this year. Next up is Usagi Yojimbo. This is it's actually issue number 5 of 5. I actually picked this up at the LCS because I wasn't sure if I had already gotten this. When I checked my list, I didn't think I had ordered it, but I did pick this up, and I know I've already made commentary about this book that I was a little disappointed that, especially the end of this story right here, it really does repeat itself from a story much earlier. It involves the bounty hunter Stray Dog, and it looks like it's the exact same pages from a previous issue from years ago. So I'm a longtime reader. I recognize the end of that story as exactly the same as the other story, and that was a little disappointing. The rest of the story was fine. I didn't have any problems with that, but when it repeated something at the end again, maybe that was intentional, but I didn't really like that. Also from the EC Comics was the Cruel Universe. It's the same idea as the other one right there. We're doing the homage to the EC Comics of old. This is a book that I already picked up off the stand. This is Space Ghost #4. And the reason I picked it up was I was going to Baltimore Comic Con, and Frank Cho, I messed that one up. Michael Cho, who did the cover to this, was going to be there, and I wanted to go ahead and get it signed. I knew that I would not get this order in time, so I went ahead and picked it up off the stand, but I've already got a copy of this signed by Michael Cho at this point. And issue #1 of Johnny Quest, the new book from Dynamite, had come out, and I picked up only cover A on this because there wasn't anything I shouldn't say outstanding. The art was fine for all of the other covers, but not enough for me to want to buy variants or anything. So I just picked up cover A. But in the meantime, I did pick up the variant that Tom Rainey had done. And the reason for that is he was going to be at the Baltimore Comic Con as well. And I picked it up off the stand, that cover, and I've already gotten that one signed as well. So, but this one, this is the only one I had bought of that. And then from Vault Comics, just because I'm a sucker for number ones, something crawled out. I'm always picking up some of these number ones like this. You never know when a concept will hit big. That's why I pick up some of these number ones, especially for less than cover price when you do these pre-orders like this. Better to do the pre-order and pay a lot less, 35% usually, sometimes up to 50% less than cover price, than to pick it up day of the stand, or, God forbid, after it already comes out and then it hits and then you realize, wait a minute, I should have ordered that. I need to go buy, and then you're paying more than cover price. So it's better to buy it before it becomes something. So I picked that up. All right, let's move over to DC Comics, because DC Comics is usually the least of the books that I get. I did pick up the second issue. It is second issue, isn't it? I believe it is, yeah. Of The Nice House by the Sea, James Tynion book. He came to Third Eye Comics not that long ago to do the release of the first issue in the new maxi series. It is a follow-up to Nice House on the Lake, and I enjoyed that. And I read the first issue of this one, but at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to all these issues, and I'm going to read everything in one time. I probably should have just waited and not got the books at all and just got a trade paperback at some point. But definitely enjoy. I got issue number 1 signed by James Tynion, but number 2 was not out in time. I did pick up this right here. What book is this? Oh, it is Power Girl number 12, and it's got the variant cover right here, making it look like Power Girl is one of the toys from the Superpowers power line of toys back from the mid 80s. And I thought this was pretty cool. I think I actually picked this up on New Comic Book Day as well. I thought this was pretty cool. I didn't go in for every one of these covers where they did a lot of different variations on characters, but I like this one. I think I picked up the one with Nightwing, the one with Wonder Girl, but I passed on ones like they had the John Stewart Green Lantern, I couldn't care less about. They had the shirtless Batman that appears in that one of those early issues with Ra's al Ghul, and I passed on that one. But the Power Girl, basically it was the girls. The girls look great on this, so I went ahead and picked those up. I did pick this up. It is the 30th anniversary special to Zero Hour. This is Dan Jurgens, isn't it? I bet you this is Dan Jurgens. That cover, yeah. I was going to say, that cover right there, that art right there screams Dan Jurgens. You can usually, the way people, it isn't just the way they draw them, but it's the way they position them. Dan Jurgens is one of those. You can usually pick out his artwork by the position of the character. I know another one like that is right here. I've got Jimmy, what is his name? He did Young Avengers. That's what I've got right here. Is it Jimmy Chang? Do I have that right? I can't remember. But you can always tell his art by the way he positions his characters when he draws them. And Dan Jurgens is one of those. And I was like, that's a Dan Jurgens drawing. Yes, it is. I did pick up the second issue to Jenny Sparks. That's a character I've liked from Mark Miller originally from The Authority. And I'm continuing with this at the moment. We'll see how it goes. This is probably a book I will drop eventually. Here's the second issue to Absolute Power. And by the time you guys read this order is actually in really late. A lot of stuff's already hit by this point. Should be upfront about things and being transparent. This order actually came in a little while ago, and it's been sitting there. I say it just came in, but it really has just been sitting there, and I just had not been able to open it yet. And by this point, Absolute Batman, everything that's happening after Absolute Power is starting to hit. Absolute Batman has already come out. The All-In Special has already come out. So I'm going to have to kind of get all my comics in order and go back and read some of these things to see how it all played out. Because when I don't buy these at the newsstand or at the comic book shop, I have to wait. And I waited one, I have to wait for the order to come in, so I'm already late. Two, I didn't open this up when it came in, and honestly, it came in during the Baltimore Comic-Con, so I'm already late. So I have to kind of go back, put everything in order, and reread everything to see if everything makes sense or not. And then lastly, though, for the DC Comics, though, I picked up Batman 151. It is still in this Absolute Power storyline. And I did pick up this variant cover. I want to say this is a Del Auto cover. Yeah, it's a Del Auto cover. That's really nice. I know that they just announced, and as of this filming, Del Auto is going to be doing a signing with CGC. I bet you there's going to be a ton of stuff sent in to him. I have to go back and see if there's anything really spectacular from my PC that I really want to get signed. That's somebody that would be nice to have something signed, but I don't necessarily need it CGC. If you know what I mean. All right, guys, that was it for DC. You can see it's very limited compared to everything else. So let's just go over to Marvel, and this is not in any particular order, so I'll probably have to correct myself along the way here. We've got Captain America number 12. That's just been a easy, ongoing series I've kind of enjoyed. Nothing too serious. We've got Marvel, the 85th anniversary special, and this is the Scotty Young cover, and it's actually a gatefold or a spread, and it really is. Scotty Young over the summer had a multitude of covers of all these Marvel characters individually. And I think the art from this right here is a combination of all of those covers. So this is pretty cool. And I think I did pick this off the newsstand when it came out because I wasn't sure I had ordered it. And that's a great cover to get signed. I also picked up the regular cover as well. And I'm not sure who did that. The Spider-Man looks very Todd McFarlane, but I know it's not McFarlane who did that. And again, showing you how far I am behind, because you're going to see new Comic Book Day videos come out where I do get Spider-Man at my LCS. It is in my pull box there. And I'm already up to 259. So this order was late, and I'm a little bit behind in opening it. So we literally have got issue number 950 of Spider-Man. You can tell that I'm really behind in this particular video, but I think I put that one back the day that it came out. I had already picked up some variants at the LCS, and I knew I had the regular cover, and they're charging $8 for this. So I went ahead and put the regular cover back, even though it was in my pull box. You shouldn't do that, but I don't do it often. But it was only because I was going to pick up multiples of the other variants that day. We've got MYX number 2. And I'm not sure if that is a Lobos cover or not. That's pretty neat. I'm probably going to be sticking with some of these new From the Ashes X-Men books for a couple issues. But I think by the point that this video comes out and there's another order getting ready to come in. Like I said, I was already late opening this up. I think I've already stopped ordering any of the books from the Ashes X-Men. There just wasn't anything that really jumped out that I needed. There was no hook that makes me want to stay with any of these at this point. The new Wolverine book is the only one that possibly may survive out of this. The regular books. X-Force number 2, no exception. Although, yeah, no exception. I was going to have a but there, but there is no but. Let's put these down. And then X-Men number 3, I did pick up the Rogue cover. It's funny, at the LCS, the day this came out, there was I think it was the Psylocke cover. I picked that up because I liked it, and I passed on this mostly because I knew I'd already pre-ordered, but I kind of made that choice. If I hadn't already pre-ordered this, and I didn't see it early, J. Scott Campbell cover here, I probably wouldn't have picked this up. I did not like this cover, so I did pick this one up, though, as a pre-order. We've got X-Men number 3. This is the regular cover. Ryan Stegman, I believe. And I just saw Ryan Stegman at the Baltimore Comic-Con. I got him to sign a couple of Ultimate Spider-Man books that he'd done variant covers on the first issue. But I didn't care for the New X-Men enough for him to sign issue number 1, which I had. I just didn't pull it. I didn't care enough. This right here was one of my favorite books of the last few months. It is Aliens versus Avengers. Jonathan Hickman's doing the artwork. He's writing this, and this has been really a kind of a surprising book. I really enjoyed that. Have not seen the follow-up book to that come out yet, so I'll have to be looking for that. We've got Giant Size Thor number 1. And the only reason I picked this up is it is a variant cover by Walt Simonson. I wish I had opened this box up during the Baltimore Comic Con, because Walt was there and I would have obviously gotten this signed, but c'est la vie, that's the way it goes. Here is the Ultimate Spider-Man number 8. This right now is probably going to be the only Ultimate book at this point that I'll probably be a liar here in a second, you never know, that I'm going to continue with. I've already dropped Black Panther a while back. The Ultimate X-Men are basically a bunch of girls sitting around talking about their periods. I'm kind of exaggerating, but haven't enjoyed that at all. I gave it a chance, 6 issues, and I'm just not there. The Ultimates has turned into woke bullshit with the everybody who's white is an awful person, and we're going to really just go after changing the characters to different races and then talk about how bad white people are. Books getting dropped immediately at this point. The new book had just come out with Hawkeye, and I've read some of that, and I'm just like, that's it. I think I'm done with that book completely. So the Ultimate Spider-Man is the only book that's going to survive out of the Ultimates at this point. Wolverine Revenge number 1. This is a book I'd already picked up off the newsstand, and I've already talked about this. My whole New Comic Book Day was about this right here. This book right here should have been the most important comic Marvel put out all year, with Greg Capullo and coming back to Marvel, and then you've got Jonathan Hickman doing everything he's doing, and this book right here just did not do it for me. The artwork was fine, but that story, I don't know where they're going with this, and everything seems out of place. And if it's a what if, not even a what if, but a kind of an Elseworlds or a alternate storyline or whatever, if that's what it turns out to really be, then to me it's a waste of time. The book should have significance. You've got to have books from these top creators that have impact on the ongoing series. And I guess it's an overall arching storyline is that, or thought process is that, as much as I like the Ultimate Spider-Man right there, okay, that's great. And the new Absolute Batman that just came out, these are alternate takes on things. What about the regular line? The book should be the book itself, the original book that's ongoing. That's where the talent should be. It shouldn't be the afterthought. It should be the main focus. And when everybody's more interested and wants to read Ultimate Spider-Man than the regular Spider-Man, you know there's a problem with the regular title. And that's kind of what's going on with this right here. This book right here, it should have been in the regular title. Greg Capullo should have been on the regular title as an ongoing artist, at least for a year. And we should have had some significant things happen in the regular book, not some Elseworlds type alternate storyline. Pick this up. This is Immortal Thor number 14, and another Walt Simonson variant, and I missed this one as well. He's been doing some variants, so I messed up twice here. I'll have to pull these and put them into the Walt Simonson pile for the next time I see him. And you can see, I was going to say, you can see how much I'm still behind on Spider-Man. Again, this one I did pick up at my LCS. It is number 55, but it is also issue in legacy terms 949. So I am a little bit behind. I'd already picked this up. Like I said, I'm a subscriber at Third Eye Comics. They're in my pull box. Here's issue 3 of Ultimates. I did say I'd already dropped this, and I am dropping that with the new issue where Hawkeye they brought in. And this right here is the She-Hulk. I haven't read this, but I have read what happens in this, and this right here it's just really going downhill. The first issue was fine. Second issue, when you make America Chavez as the most important character in the Ultimate Universe, and then you go down and you You change races, you change storylines, you make other... I probably should just stop right now before I get in too much trouble talking about my feelings towards this. But this right here, this book right here, the reviews I saw on this were very much in line with what I just talked about with the Ultimates. Which is a shame because the original Ultimate series was my favorite Ultimate series. One of my favorite comics of all time was the 2 runs of, I guess it was 12 and 13 issues, twice, Ultimates 1 and Ultimates 2, with Mark Millar and Brian Hitch. Some of my favorite comics of all time. Obviously, so important to the MCU because that's what the Avengers were based on. It wasn't based on the original Avengers in our 616 universe. It is based on the Ultimate Universe. Right, straight up, that is what it's based on. I mean, Nick Fury, they even joke about in the first series that Nick Fury, if anybody played him in the movie, it was going to be Samuel L. Jackson. They even joke about it in the comic book. That's why I was always upset that they didn't get Steve Buscemi, is that how you say his name? From Reservoir Dogs to play Bruce Banner. That's who they should have gotten to play. They should have played it up really hard if they were going to base it on the Ultimate Universe. I mean, that would have been a storyline. I did pick up the 50th anniversary issue to Iron Fist right there. And here is Spider Society Enter the Spider-Versers, #1. Now, this is a book that I knew I'd ordered the regular cover, but when it came out, I did get the Lobos variant cover of Spider-Gwen for this. I know I picked that up. Here is X-Men #2. More Ryan Stegman artwork. And then the variant with J. Scott Campbell with Magic. I like this one. I like that one a lot better than I did the Rogue version. Here was X Factor #1. Kind of dug that artwork on the cover. That was pretty cool. And then Moonlight was relaunching the Fist of... How do you say it? I never can pronounce the name of his god that he fights with, or fights for. But this is the 0 issue. I picked that up. Let's put these down. Like I said, a lot of Marvel comics. I got a lot of reading to do here. Some of these I've already picked up and read, but like this one, I'd already picked this up. I don't know why. So I try to be good and not double up and buy multiples. I mean, you're wasting money in some of these cases. But I went ahead and picked this up. This is issue #1 of Spider-Man, Black Suit and Blood. And then issue 17 of Avengers. And you have Storm joining the Avengers. And I actually picked up the variant Dazzler Disco cover. I don't know why I did that. I didn't really care. I don't know what I was thinking. I should not have picked that up. That's a waste of money. But I did pick up, let's see here. We got the Uncanny X-Men #1. Actually, I've got 3 of those. Okay, so we got the regular cover on that. And I picked up, this is the Andy Kubert version. I like that cover a lot. And then lastly, the last book of the whole batch here was the Uncanny X-Men #1. This is the Lobos, and I did it because it's Lobos, but it is the Dazzler Disco version of Magic there. I thought that was kind of nice, kind of creepy. I don't know. It was a little weird, but I picked that up. But guys, that is it. That is all the books I picked up for this particular month at M&M Comics. Guys, give them a chance if you are interested in subscribing. Just go to their website, it's mmcomics.com. The link's down below in the description. Check them out. You can get some great discounts. I don't get paid for this endorsement, but as I said, it's almost 25 years that I've been using them, and only one time did we ever have an issue, and it was resolved, and no problems, no problem at all. So that's it for today, guys. Definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of the books I picked up for this month, and what books did you like and what books did you not like out of this batch. I'd be curious to know. And if you like this kind of content, definitely give me a like, slap the subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the episodes that I put out each and every week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. All right, guys, I'm out of here. You have a great day, and remember, every comic has a story.